Welcome to Triad Arts Up Close. I'm David Ford. Stephen Lindsley is a pastor at First Presbyterian Church in Mount Airy. The lifelong North Carolinian and Wake Forest University grad is also a seasoned gigging musician with 4 albums to his credit. He currently performs as one half of Acoustic Blend, as keyboard vocalist with the band Mediocre Bad Guys, and as acoustic soloist. Steve's latest CD is Let Go, and it explores, among other things, the ways in which people we meet become parts of our lives. The recording project and new release was made possible when Steve and First Pres teamed up and submitted a Lilly Foundation grant. Their application beat out hundreds of entries and provided the singer-songwriter with a 3-month sabbatical grant to compose, record, travel, and enrich the already solid relationship he'd established between minister and flock with a little time apart.
He says, this is a beginning. This is where we stand.
The thrust of it was a musical experience, but they also wanted you to do things with your family, and so there were some trips that were worked into the sabbatical, and it was a cost-neutral kind of a thing. They provide funds for both me and the church. They provided funds for the church to hire an interim minister for 3 months. They provided funds for me to do some traveling myself, some traveling with the family, and then to write the songs and to go into the studio. They provided funds for all of that. So everything about this experience was cost neutral for the church and myself.
That's awesome. And are there any vacancies?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It seems like it's a very, holistic sabbatical. You've got your family time, you've got your musical studies, and a chance to just kind of get away from it all. How did it affect your approach to songwriting, just that slice of time and how tunes would come to you, that sort of thing?
Well, see, that's a real big part of why I wanted to do this when I did, because there's a lot of issues about time and space and songwriting that I've not had the opportunity to engage in. There was a time 10, 12 years ago when I was single and then recently married with no kids, and I was an associate pastor at a church in Lexington, North Carolina. And I was only preaching once a month, and so there was space to write songs. We had a bedroom in our house that was sort of a music room. I had all my equipment in there. The fact that I was preaching sermons once a month meant that I could devote other creative writing energies to songwriting. Within the span of a couple of years, all that changed. We had kids. The music room is no longer a music room. It's a nursery. So I lose the space to write songs. And when we made the move to Mount Airy, where I'm a head of staff pastor and preaching every week, which I love doing, the creative muse is kind of being exhausted in the weekly writing sermons. So the sabbatical was an opportunity for me to take that time aside to do some things songwriting-wise that I hadn't done in a while.
'Cause I am one, I am peace, I am love, full of grace.
Maybe you could tie that breadth of space and the need for that into your compositional process. In other words, some people can just write for 5 minutes and get back to it a half hour later and write for another 10 minutes. Other people need a big chunk of time. Talk me through the process of songwriting from your perspective, how you dwell in that world. And I imagine it varies from song to song, but just like a basis.
It works differently for different people, and I'll be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out the way it works for me. By nature, I'm a person that when I get on a task, I have this inner need to go into it and to finish it. And the problem with songwriting is that it's not that way. You may get just a part of a song. You may get a chorus of a song, and then the rest of it doesn't come until later. But if you feel in your head like you've got to finish it all in one fell swoop, you're going to end up writing a junky song. So part of this process for me, and I'm still learning this, was to get an idea, to jot it down, to record it, just a quick little sample or something like that. And then when you realize the point when it's not coming anymore at that moment, of backing away.
And you're giving it away
for free. It's a digital download only. The grant, again, covered the entire cost of the whole project, from the recording to the producing to everything. And my real thought, and this is sort of, if you will, the gift of the sabbatical back to everyone, really, that if I'm not having to spend my own money to make this thing, I don't feel that I should ask people to spend their money to get to listen to it.
I love to see you smile.
That Lifeline hook, then just when that comes in, it really lifts you up.
It's one of those songs that kind of came, for the most part, pretty quickly. There was one little bridge part that a friend helped me come up with, just this little 3-second blurb, but after that, the whole song sort of fell into place.
You can be my lifeline.
You know, when you said taking a sabbatical, I'm going to, kind of try something for a few months and go into the recording studio, I had no idea the production value you're going to come up with this. There's a lot going on in this. It's nice to have a house band to call on.
Yeah, because the band I play in, Mediocre Bad Guys, actually wound up on this song being the band on the song.
Now, overall, Doug produced most of the album.
Yep.
I imagine Mitch had a little to do with producing one of these tracks at least.
Well, with Doug, and Doug and I were fraternity brothers here at Wake, back in the dark ages, and sort of reconnected. And he has this phenomenal studio and that I recorded a project in last summer. But the one thing that Doug does not have in his vast arsenal at a studio here in town is a piano. And I wanted a piano tune on this album. That's actually my primary instrument, the one I've start off with. But Doug came up with the idea. He knew that Mitch Easter had a nice Yamaha C7 in his studio in Kernersville. And everyone knows Mitch and his obvious connections to, REM and Let's Active and Pavement and all that kind of stuff. So we got up with Mitch, or Doug got up with Mitch rather, and we set a day to go to his studio and to record the piano for this track on a good, real, solid piano. And it was an incredible experience, just first of all to meet him. He's so unassuming, real low-key guy. Phenomenal studio. But the thing that I remember is the actual recording. We ran through 3 takes of this song. So, the recording was maybe 30, 35, 40 minutes. But he spent 2.5 hours setting up the mics for a 30 to 45-minute recording time.
She's high above the world.
That tune kind of came together different phases. I mean, I wrote the thing flying back from Austin, where I spent some time away during the sabbatical. And the thing that jump-started the song was, as I was getting in my seat, there was this woman behind me with this little baby sitting in her lap and stuff. And for some reason, that just sparked an idea and the story that unfolded that I'm sure had absolutely no grounding in real reality. But sat down when the pilot said it was okay to turn on electronic devices with my MacBook and typed out lyrics, and then went into GarageBand and sort of tapped a chord progression of a song. And so when I landed in Charlotte, I had this song.
Singer, songwriter, recording artist, and pastor Stephen Lindsley. His new CD is Let Go, and it'll be given away for free as an MP3 download. I'm David Ford. Thanks for joining me today for Triad Arts Up Close.